By the end of 2025, the United States is expected to lose nearly 40 million visitors and $12.5 billion in foreign tourism revenue. But why? That's a key question. You'll find out shortly.
The U.S. tourism industry was anticipating a profitable year after the number of international visitors to the U.S. jumped in 2024. But as Elise Preston reports from Los Angeles, it seems many tourists have changed their plans.
From iconic sites scattered across the country, such as Times Square, the Statue of Liberty, and Disneyland, the once bustling attractions are beginning to resemble ghost structures. Why is no one willing to visit the United States anymore? Has President Donald Trump finally killed the American dream? In this video, we're going to uncover the facts, trends, and hidden reasons why the USA is no longer as attractive to hundreds of millions of potential visitors as it once was. In the past, the US was the go-to destination for millions of travelers. From the very exotic skyscrapers in New York to the beaches in California, the United States offered something for everyone. However, this year, the trend is gradually shifting and is now almost non-existent. Visitors from other continents are choosing destinations outside the United States, and the numbers tell the story. According to Oxford Economics, the number of Canadians returning to the US by land plunged 31.9% in March, while air travels fell 13.5%. Overseas visitor arrivals to the US in March contracted 11.6%, with particularly sharp declines from Germany and the UK. Air visitors from Mexico fell 23% in March. These declines are part of a larger global trend in which tourists are choosing to visit more accessible, affordable, and predictable destinations over the US. Many of the United States' cities such as New York, Los Angeles, and Miami are seeing fewer international visitors by the day. But what's causing this decline? Is it just a coincidence, or is there something deeper at play? When considering the troubling reality that visa delays are at an all-time high, with travellers from countries such as India, Brazil, and Mexico waiting over 400 days to schedule an appointment, you will be closer to the truth. In some cases, travellers are simply bypassing the US for other countries with more streamlined visa processes. Air travel has also been affected, as flight cancellations have continued to occur frequently in recent years, alongside certain airline routes from international hubs to the United States being reduced or eliminated. Even those who do manage to book flights are often confronted with long lines at the airport and aggressive questioning by border officials, which creates a sense of unease among many travellers. But it's more than long lines or difficult entry protocols. The entire experience of travelling to the US is rapidly changing. Europeans and Asians are opting for destinations that offer similar cultural experience but with less hassle. The country, once renowned for its diverse and rich culture, has been associated with political instability, gun homicide-fueled violence, and an increasing lack of cultural sensitivity. But in addition to this, something more disturbing about the United States seems to be keeping millions more outside its shores, and it is far worse than you think. America's global image is no longer what it once was. For decades, the US stood as a shining beacon of freedom, opportunity, and innovation for the rest of the world. The Statue of Liberty, the Hollywood sign, and the Golden Gate Bridge were all symbols of the great American dream. However, now it all seems like an illusion. The US is losing its allure. The world is looking elsewhere, and the reasons extend beyond visa delays or flight cancellations. More disturbing issues and tensions now taint America's image. The increasing gun violence, political uncertainty, and tense international relations is creating a picture of America that doesn't align with the optimistic image many once had about it. Many tourists now worry more about their safety when travelling to the US. This is because the number of shooting incidents, especially in major cities like Chicago, Baltimore, and Los Angeles, has been on the increase. The political gridlock and polarising leadership currently experienced since Trump took office for the second term have created an atmosphere of uncertainty, which is leading many to reconsider visiting a country where public unrest has become their daily reality. This year, America's role as a global leader is being challenged on a daily basis. According to Pew Research Center, over 20% of people in other Western countries such as Germany, France, and Canada hold a negative view of the current leadership in the US, citing most of them referring to political instability and distrust of policies in the country. This perception is best illustrated in the country's tourism industry. However, the shift isn't just about negative perceptions alone, also about what the US isn't doing to address these concerns. The United States is still largely seen as the land of opportunity by many, but it's no longer the place people dream of visiting. Political tensions, combined with decade-long issues of racial profiling, have given the US a reputation for being less welcoming, and that reputation is turning travellers away. The world is changing rapidly, and if the US doesn't adapt, it could lose its position as the go-to destination for many business people and students alike. What will it take to rebuild that image? And more importantly, will it happen before more and more travellers decide to turn their backs on the US? This year, the process for obtaining a US visa became a nightmare for many international travellers entering the country. What was once a system for welcoming visitors now leaves people frustrated and discouraged before they even set foot in the country. For travellers from countries like Brazil and Mexico, waiting times have stretched to months, making it nearly impossible for many to return to the US for tourism, even after months of waiting. The US State Department has confirmed that visa processing times have indeed skyrocketed in recent years, and for many, the wait is simply too long. Take India as a prime example. Citizens in Chennai continue to face a wait time of up to 400 days just to book an appointment for a visa interview. The situation is similar in countries like Brazil and Mexico, where long queues, outdated systems, and a lack of staff seem to be leaving hopeful tourists stuck in limbo. Even intending students who hope to attend universities in the US face similar delays, with some programs starting without their participation due to bottlenecks in the visa processing system. The problem doesn't only stop with wait times. Once these travellers finally make it to their appointment, they are faced with some level of aggressive questioning and, in some cases, racial profiling. The US Customs and Border Protection has repeatedly been criticised for subjecting certain visitors to more intensive security than those from other countries. This has led to growing unease among travellers who feel that they are being treated as suspects rather than genuine guests. Even legitimate tourists with valid visas and appropriate documentation are being detained for several hours, interrogated on their intent, and, in other cases, deported for little cause. In Germany, several citizens were detained at US airports despite holding valid visas, and the German government has subsequently issued travel advisories warning against the US's unpredictable visa and border process. Japan also saw an increase in complaints from tourists who faced similar long delays and aggressive questioning upon arrival. Australian travellers have also reported several invasive security measures, with many questioning the value of a trip to the US when they know they'll face unnecessary hurdles. But this isn't just a few isolated incidents. The US is facing mounting international pressure over its treatment of foreign visitors. Back in 2023, a British couple who had been detained for hours at the Los Angeles International Airport due to religious sentiments sparked social media outrage. Soon after, other tourists from around the world began sharing their own uncomfortable stories too, painting a picture of a country where travel is no longer easy or welcoming as it once was.
What's the perception over in Europe, like in England and the Netherlands, about travel to the US right now? Do you feel like your friends and family feel comfortable traveling there?
No, nobody I know back in England or here.
In response to this, other countries are beginning to reassess their visa policies toward the US. Countries like Mexico have launched a campaign to encourage their citizens to visit other North American countries like Canada and Costa Rica, rather than the United States. Similarly, Brazil has launched an initiative to boost tourism to Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, which has historically been overshadowed by the allure of the US. Even European nations like Germany and France are seeing a rise in inbound travel, benefiting from the frustrations visitors experience when trying to enter the US. Legal challenges are also a growing concern among many, as more calls for reform on the US visa system are being made. Advocacy groups like the American Civil Liberties Union have filed complaints about the US's handling of immigrant and visitor visas, citing unconstitutional treatment of many individuals at the border. The problem has become so pervasive that in the remaining months of 2025, more countries may impose travel restrictions on the US in response to the country's recent treatment of foreign nationals. The cycle of mistrust and inconvenience is doing far more than discouraging tourists. It's creating diplomatic tensions that cut through every interaction, from business travel to international student exchanges. Well, how much longer can the US maintain these aggressive visa and border policies before they affect its relationships with the rest of the world? The slow decline of the tourism industry in the United States is not just a matter of lost revenue, but also a significant blow to the country's diplomatic standing. Visitors to America don't just come to see landmarks, they come to experience American values. However, with tourism on the decline now, America's reputation as a global leader is rapidly deteriorating. For decades, the US has leveraged its appeal as a tourist destination to foster relationships with other nations around the world. Travelers from abroad, whether as visitors, students, or business people, become unofficial ambassadors back home by sharing their experiences and impressions with others. They help solidify America's image as a symbol of freedom and opportunity. However, when fewer people come to the country, fewer individuals have the chance to experience the US firsthand, and fewer people have the opportunity to share the positive experience they have had. In countries around the world, the concept of American exceptionalism is being increasingly questioned. European countries such as Germany have seen an increase in skepticism among citizens about the value of their US-led alliance. Even among the US's closest friends, doubts are growing about the country's leadership and the way its guests are treated. Countries such as Canada and Japan are capitalizing on this shift by focusing on their own welcoming cultures and open immigration policies. This shift has also taken a toll on international student programs. For decades, students from around the world have applied to American colleges and universities for a chance to study in one of the world's most dynamic education systems. However, as the US faces visa delays and increasing restrictions, many students are now turning to other countries such as Canada, Australia, and even Germany for their education. According to VN Express International, the number of international students enrolling in US institutions from March 2024 to March 2025 declined by 11%, potentially costing the American economy up to $4 billion. Cultural diplomacy is another area where the US is starting to lose ground. For years, American culture, from Hollywood films to pop music to fast food, has all been a source of global admiration. However, with countries like South Korea, Japan, and Mexico gaining international prominence, they're also becoming centers for this cultural exchange. So, what happens when a country like the United States starts to fade from the spotlight? What happens when people stop seeing America as the go-to destination? Will America be able to repair its image, or is it too late to reclaim its position as a world's cultural and diplomatic leader? Let's find out. While the US grapples with its tourism crisis, other countries are taking their game higher and profiting from the growing dissatisfaction with America. These countries are offering friendlier experiences, more efficient visa systems, and longer stays that the global traveller today can enjoy. Take Japan for instance. Approximately 36.87 million international tourists visited Japan in 2024, the highest number since records began in 1964. Japan has simplified its visa process by reducing the paperwork needed, introducing e-visa options, and creating digital nomad visas to attract more remote workers. Japan has also launched extensive tourism campaigns targeting both tourists and business travellers, making it easier for people to experience the country with fewer obstacles. Similarly, Portugal experienced an increase in foreign visitors, particularly from South America and Northern Europe, as Portugal rolled out tax exemptions and golden visas. The country was positioning itself as an attractive long-term destination for tourism and entrepreneurs alike. This made Lisbon and Porto digital nomad bases for those seeking a European hub. The ease of obtaining a visa and the relatively low cost of living make Portugal a very appealing option for people looking to relocate or stay for extended periods. Meanwhile, Canada has implemented policies designed to encourage longer stays from travellers. Canada's express entry system has been praised in recent years for its efficiency and clarity, while its work visas for digital nomads continue to gain increasing popularity. Meanwhile, the United States remains covered by drama, tensions, and uncertainty. While competitors are making travel easier, America's immigration and visa policies are driving tourists elsewhere. Now, can the US learn from these countries and adapt to the new demands of global travellers? Or will it continue to fall behind, losing its place as the world's top travel destination? As countries step up their game, the US risks losing its place as the world's top travel destination. With visa delays, rising tensions, and a fading global image, the future of American tourism hangs in the balance. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. See you in the next video.